You'll see.
Spoiler warning. Fans have been waiting for a story like Crosshair's redemption in Star Wars: The Bad Batch Season 3 since 1983. 3 new episodes from The Bad Batch Season 3 were released on Disney+, with a major focus on the events that followed Tech's passing and Omega's capture. The first few episodes of Star Wars: The Bad Batch's final season, which features several voice cast members returning, wasted no time in laying the groundwork for what promises to be an incredible conclusion to the much-loved program.
There is no we. And there is no escape.
Subscribe to Movie Spy for twist videos. Much of the plot of The Bad Batch Season 3 revolved around Omega and Crosshair from the start of the new episodes to the very end. As important information about the return of Star Wars Emperor Palpatine is revealed, the two clones are depicted preparing a bold escape from Dr. Hemlock.
I won't be trapped here too.
Through these plot lines, the redemption of Crosshair, hinted at in earlier seasons, started to take shape in a way that deviates from Star Wars conventions and gives fans a narrative they've been waiting for 41 years. Since Return of the Jedi, redemption has been a part of Star Wars, but there's a catch. In the galaxy, most parables of forgiveness come to an end at the very moment of redemption. The idea of redemption was first introduced to the Star Wars universe more than 40 years ago in the 1983 film Return of the Jedi. When Darth Vader witnessed the suffering Emperor Palpatine was causing his son, Luke Skywalker, in the last movie of George Lucas's original trilogy, he decided to oppose the Sith Lord. Redeeming himself for the horrific deeds he perpetrated as an acolyte of the Sith, Vader raised Palpatine above his head and tossed him down the reactor shaft of the Death Star 2. Redeeming characters has been a recurring theme in Star Wars narratives ever since this plot point. For Star Wars characters, including Quinlan Vos and Asajj Ventress from the prequel era and Kylo Ren/Ben Solo from the sequels, accepting responsibility for one's actions is customary. Having said that, the majority of these tales of redemption have included a disclaimer regarding how simple it is to be pardoned by the Force. Many have frequently criticized the Skywalker saga, particularly with regard to Anakin Skywalker, by pointing out that Vader's redemption was far too simple. Many people hold the opinion that Anakin should not be exonerated of the numerous crimes, horrors, and atrocities the Sith Lord performed during a 20-year period, even if Vader's one selfless deed in the Emperor's destruction, even if it was only temporary, should not erase those memories. But once he killed the Emperor, the Force gave him the capacity to materialize within the cosmic force, turning him back into Anakin Skywalker. Redemption for Crosshair is a process, not an event. The languid, ebb and flow narrative of Crosshair's self-redemption is a rare sight in Star Wars. Keeping in mind all of the Star Wars redemption stories, this is why Crosshair's absolution arc in Star Wars: The Bad Batch is so interesting. It is a process, which is precisely what others haven't been. Crosshair was presented as a complicated character in The Bad Batch's first season premiere, divided between obeying orders and being devoted to his brothers. Crosshair was a very well-written antagonist when The Bad Batch first started, with him acting as the Empire's obedient, albeit hesitant, lapdog dog in Season 1. The second season of The Bad Batch then started Crosshair's gradual road to redemption with tales of his adventures with Mayday and Commander Cody. This carried over into the first episode of Star Wars: The Bad Batch Season 3, having begun with his capture by Dr. Hemlock in the previous season's finale. The latter is particularly intriguing because Crosshair has a long way to go before experiencing atonement. He continues to think that he ought to be behind bars and tells Omega harsh things. He nevertheless supports his sister to show that he is headed in the correct direction. In contrast to the redemption stories of Ben Solo or Anakin Skywalker, writing Crosshair's path is a process. When Crosshair shot an Imperial in The Bad Batch Season 2, he did not instantly gain the forgiveness of himself, the people around him, or the viewer. Crosshair's transformation into an enduring force for good in the galaxy did not happen overnight. Rather, it was the result of a series of incidents that occurred both before and after, demonstrating how all he has been through will eventually add up to the difficult task of atonement. Crosshair must face the people he's hurt. Unlike other redeemed Star Wars heroes, Crosshair will soon face the consequences of his deeds. Crosshair's redemption story differs from the others in that he will soon have to confront the individuals he has mistreated. The conclusion of The Bad Batch Season 3, Episode 3, seemed to have prepared Crosshair and Omega to go find Hunter and Wrecker. Crosshair has only faced his brothers in situations where it was either life or death since the first episode of The Bad Batch, so he hasn't had much time to consider the repercussions of his actions. If the setting of The Bad Batch Season 3 is any indication, Crosshair will soon have to face the people he has mistreated and deceived in the past. It would be quite unlikely for Wrecker, Hunter, and Echo to forgive Crosshair right away, considering the death, anguish, and suffering his his brothers had endured at the hands of the Empire. The death of Tech, which was not directly caused by Crosshair but may be blamed for it because of their brothers' Empire ties and the irrational thinking that comes with loss, is something that could make them even more enraged. Although it is possible to argue that the Batch has already forgiven Crosshair for his warnings regarding Omega's capture and their escape from Kamino, these were both vital connections. There were no calmer, more intimate moments in either scenario where feelings about Crosshair's betrayal and wronging of his brothers might surface. However, facing his wronged parties will be one of the last tasks Crosshair must complete in order to atone, giving Star Wars: The Bad Batch Season 3 the gripping redemption story the series has been without for 40 years.